Today's shave is going to be with this Karve Bradley razor. It's going to be with this B5 knot from Declaration Grooming. Whip Dog 24mm handle. Oops, sorry. I'm going to shove the knot down in this little jar. That is how I like to get my badgers wet before a shave. You can just run it under water if you want. The lather bowl, swirls in the bottom, nice for grip when I'm cleaning it, and an inturned lip right here to keep the lather in the bowl, and it does actually work pretty well. The big deal today is this is the 70th use of my Gillette Nacet blade. 50 dots on this side, almost 20 dots on this side. So, as a milestone, that's why I decided to use my Bradley razor, one of my favorites. It's got the E-plate. Yeah, it's got the E-plate in it, and I normally can't use the E-plate because it's so aggressive. However, this 70 use Nacet proves to be a very good shaver when I use it in more aggressive razors. And I chose a new one that I got in from Reef Point Soaps, Peerless. I just heard the other day that they were going to close up shop. Whatever inventory they have, they're going to sell. I hope that turns around somehow and it turns out not to be true. Or maybe it's a, rumor. I don't think so. But I really like Reef Point. My first one I ever tried from them was their espresso. And while I'm not really a coffee scent kind of guy, I enjoyed it. And most of all, I enjoyed the performance a lot. And I was new to this whole thing, and it was just really good performance. And so I jumped on their site, and Aviator looked awesome, and Submariner looked great. And I love both of those. They turned out fabulous. I could probably just stick with those two the rest of my life and have a great shaving time. I did try, I think, Admiralty. It wasn't quite my thing. And I tried their Dragon's Blood, and that was a very intense orange zest kind of scent. That wasn't really my thing. But the other two, just right up my alley. And great performance, hot process soap, pretty firm. And I like that. Usually it makes it go longer time. So I'm going to take a little less than a quarter teaspoon out of there. And it's been a while. I've just had so many things to try that it's been a while since I've used the Reef Point. And it's actually squishing down pretty easy. It may seem kind of hard in the tub there, but that's a little deceptive because it's smushing easily into the bottom of my lather bowl. And now I'm going to get my face wet, and I will take the brush, shake out pretty much all the water. That way I'll know how much water that I add. I'm just going to, so now I have a damp brush, and that's all. And we'll see what, oh, nice. I know there's like some fur in here, some bergamot. Yeah, look at that guy, kind of activates pretty well with just a damp brush. I like that. I like that coming up. Wasn't sure about the fragrance profile because you never know of the notes that they describe. Sometimes you just don't know which one's going to be the one that jumps out at you most. But what I did know is that it might be a limited time offering because they might be closing up shop. And what I also knew was I knew the performance would be great. So I decided to take a risk. Yeah, that bergamot, I can smell that kind of an orange type scent coming up just nicely. Cedar wood, I believe, is in there too, and I'm really glad that's not too strong. I like it in there, but I don't like it to be super dominant. It can be kind of tart sometimes. Kind of high, piercing, poignant, if you will. I like that, I think. Very distinctly outdoorsy, very manly. I do pick up a fir tree type scent. And right now we've got a great sheen on it. So I'm confident it's going to come together really nicely. And now we have 2 teaspoons of water in the bowl. It's been a while since I've used Reef Point. I've just had so many samples to work through, and I'm just trying new ones, and I know that I love my Reef Point soaps, and so that's not a mystery, Sometimes I like to go for the unknowns first and then settle back into the knowns. Great sheen on it. I think I'm going to like it. I think it's I really like the bergamot mixed in with the foresty type scents. It kind of smooths them out a little bit, keeps them from being just kind of one-dimensional. That lather's looking terrific. So I'm sorry to see, if it's true, I'm sorry to see Reef Point go. You didn't hear them mentioned a lot in terms of their soaps, just because there's just such a big number of soap artisans out there. But to me, I mean, their base, from what I remember, is really nice and easily competes with the other popular ones out there. Maybe not the like Barrister and Man Reserve or something like that, but I think it definitely competes, if my memory is correct, with like their Barrister and Man's Glissant base, that sort of thing. This lather just looks great. And there we go. Looks wonderful and creamy. And so let us do it looks a little too dry to me right now, but let's just see. Oh, nice cushion. And I can only feel that I have ridges. I can't really distinguish them. Nice and creamy. I think I'm going to put just a little bit more water in there. Like a quarter of a teaspoon maybe. And so I think we've basically got 3 1/4 teaspoons of water in there with the almost quarter teaspoon of soap. Yeah, it looks really good. Yeah, if you like outdoor scents, this is going to be right up your alley, especially if you like the fir type conifer type scent. I have, it's been 2 days since I've shaved, so my oily skin has had a chance to get in full bloom. And so I'm not going to be surprised if the first pass is just a wash to kind of cleanse my skin and all that stuff. All right, get wet one more time. And let's put it on. So 70 shaves we're about to have with this Nacet blade. To be honest, I kind of thought that it would be deteriorating more by this point, and it just isn't. Well, the brush is doing really well with this soap. This is good quality stuff here. Feels great. Creamy, luxurious. Those are words that come to mind. All right. Yet it's still pretty quick to rinse off my hands. Some soaps, I don't know what ingredient it is that kind of stay on you. In the mirror, I see my little daughter put on a My Little Pony sticker on me. And let's vote him off the island for now. I don't want him to end up in the washing machine without me knowing it. All right. So the E-plate, it's got the Nacet in there. It's one of their more aggressive. I don't know that they've brought out anything more aggressive than the F. So the E is the next to the top. And I usually cannot shave with the next to the top settings. And this does pull a little bit, but it's only when I'm lifting the razor up. And so if on the first pass, if I do buffing strokes, then that is, you know, the shorter ones that are repetitive, I'll feel more of a pulling butt. And so that's why I switch to longer strokes like this. And I get almost no pulling at all. Just knocking those hairs down. But it is quite aggressive, and I do have to watch kind of my strategy. This is a brass razor. It's bead blasted, and so it's not polished, but since it's solid brass, you can polish it yourself if you want. I've seen, you can find pictures online of people who've done it, and I think it looks pretty nice. All right, that was quick and down. Yeah, that's a nice lather. The performance is just tremendous. All kinds of sheen in there. And I believe I've got it dialed up. It might be just a hair thick, so I left some water on my face. And that should fix it. Good soft, this brush has super soft tips. And if you do end up using a razor that's kind of harsh on you, that type of brush is going to be your friend instead of something that's really scrubby. At least if you're a person with my skin type, which is average to slightly sensitive. Nice. So the scent here is mostly fir. That's what I'm getting big time. I kind of wish it was more, you know, I'm sure the conifer and the cedar wood is coming into play as well, but it's mostly fir. I feel like I'm standing next to a Christmas tree that I just purchased, got some sap on my face from trying to install it or whatever, you know? what I'm actually thinking is this would be a great building block scent. So if I had something else, I'm thinking one of the things I imagine is maybe a scent that's really smooth, maybe even sweet. So something that comes to mind with that might be almond. You know, Colonel Conk's almond glycerin soap. Or Velabra makes a great almond crope. D.R. Harris makes an almond hard puck. I wonder how that would be with this woodsy scent. I have no idea. I've never tried the two together. All right, that was quick and nice. This E just performs so well. We'll do a rinse. And I love that this is an economical soap. I just did 2 passes and I've got tons left in the bowl, so I could use less than that 1/4 teaspoon for sure. Great performer. The lather just looks excellent. I wish the bergamot was maybe a little stronger. But I'm definitely going to keep this guy around because, you know, he's from a company that, you know, is likely not to be around after a while. And so I might, you know, if I get rid of it, I won't be able to get it back. Plus, I mean, every once in a while, if you feel like a more rugged shave, I think this is your guy. If you, I mean, there's a lot of scents that are like cologne type scents, leather and things like that. Ooh, I bet this would mix well with leather. Maybe a little tobacco type scent. Oh yeah, yeah, okay. I've got a couple Captain's Pipe from Black Ship Grooming. Got a couple of pipe smoke scents. That would be neat to blend those. Take like 1/8 of a teaspoon from each one, combine them together. Pretty cool. I think this would be a really neat building block soap. I mean, it doesn't have to be. I mean, if you like this kind of scent, and hey, there may be, every once in a while, we'll go to Gatlinburg and stay in one of those cabins in the hills, and this would be the perfect scent to take up that way. Also, maybe Christmas, of course, with firs being one of my favorite Christmas trees to have. What could you combine? What about a something sweet, some of the fruity Christmas things, you know, might be something that would work really well together. Apples. This and apples might be really interesting. All right, gonna rinse. 3rd pass is down the drain. All right, now we're gonna take a little bit more soap and do the neck only pass. So that 1/4 teaspoon of soap left me with, I mean, shoot, maybe even 2 passes of lather extra. So I could definitely reduce that next time to save soap. And I'm glad for soaps that do that. There are some of the higher end soaps that take the full 1/4 teaspoon. Barrister and Man, for instance. Holy Cow. Declaration, maybe. Their Bison base, I think, does. I think Icarus does as well. Their new base. I mean, this razor just, it's so funny. I guess the blade is just smoothed out, you know, because it just feels like a much different blade setting than the E setting. It feels more like a D or a C. But this blade just smooths it out. Let's take a look and see if we need to do any sniping. You can do backwards like that, kind of apply a little lather. When you're at this stage, you don't really want to keep hitting the same area a lot without kind of reapplying your lather. And there we go. I think we've got a great shave in the books right there. I actually like the Colonel Conch soaps. They're really cheap. They last a long time. They're glycerin. For me, they make a great lather. $3, I think, for a pretty good little puck. But, you know, some people don't like them, and that's okay. Maybe I don't really know why. But there are 4 fragrances. The bay rum, lime, amber, and almond. And I think, take away the bay rum, the lime, almond, and amber might be really interesting to pair with this particular soap. Lime and you know, the cedar wood, or the lime and the fir, I think could be really interesting. I've already mentioned that I think the almond would be the sweetness coming in would offer a very nice mix with this. But then the amber, now amber is one where if it's too much, I don't like it. I did one of Tallow and Steel's amber focused soaps, and it actually put me off amber for like a couple of months. It was just way too much amber. But that would be interesting to see how it does in this fir type conifer woodsy scent. So because it definitely belongs in that family, right? So anyway, it's funny that particular brand has 3 out of 4 in their sample pack kind of thing that I think could be interesting counterparts. And when you take a soap like this and you mix it with a glycerin soap, then sometimes that creates, they give it a name like Uber Lather or something like that, where the glycerin helps to increase the slickness and the density and the just all kinds of good effects of the normal soap. And so that's another reason to pair these together, just to get those effects as well. Anyway, I'm delighted. The performance is exactly where I thought it was. Just feels great. I definitely think it's on par with your standard Holy Cow, your standard grade of Barrister and Man, you know, the Glissant base. I think it's even on par with the Donkey Milk from Holy Cow, to be honest with you. Declaration Grooming they're great as well, and I think this is on par there. So that's just my take on it. I'm glad I got this, but to me it's really 80% fir, maybe with some of the other woodsy things coming into play, but the resulting scent that comes across is just a straight fir scent to me. And then the 20% is the orange of the bergamot, and that's just kind of where I see it, where my nose sees it. The good news is that a nice strength. I appreciate that, and I'm glad for that. So many soaps out there are very low strength, so I'm really happy about that. But just, I mean, the base is terrific. The lather looks great, it feels great, even on the first pass, and that's actually rare. I had an oily face, but that first pass cut through the oil, gave me a great shave, and that first rinse was even slick, and many times with more expensive soaps than this, that first rinse won't be slick, and it won't feel luxurious and creamy and all that, but it did with this one. I had another idea. I think this scent would be great paired with a musky type scent. I think that would be really cool. The musk with the woods and the fir coming in with a little bit of that bergamot. I think that would be excellent. I think I found a way to be happy with the B5 knots. When I am done with shaving, I strop it on the towel, kind of dry it out, and then I take half of it and bend it over the side like that. Do the same with the other half, just to kind of exercise it, open up the bloom, and then it's a little less dense in the middle, and so it gives me a nice comfortable use, instead of being quite so hard when all of it's concentrated in the middle when it doesn't bloom as much. So I think I've found a way to really enjoy this particular brush, because the current theme, the current trend is to have a reasonable amount of backbone in the bristles. And if you don't know about that, that's not the tips. It's really kind of the body of the hair shaft, and to where it kind of wants to stand up straight more than it wants to just flop around. But then combine that with super soft tips. And that's what they've done. These tips are crazy soft with this B5 knot from Declaration. But for me, it was just, I mean, look at it. There's just so many hairs in there. It's crazy. And so they were all just joining together, kind of poking my skin a little bit, shoving my face around. Like when I changed direction, that's when it would become an issue. And I think I found a way to work around that, just kind of working the knot a little bit, opening it up a little bit. I'm enjoying it a lot more. That's just my preference. If you want it to be more dense and stiff, then don't do that, peeling action over that I just did. So I am really happy that it's working out that way, because the tips are just so soft and so enjoyable. I was hoping to make it work. And about water use, what I did report ended up to be exactly right. So 3 1/4 teaspoons of water for a little bit less than 1/4 teaspoon of soap. But I would reduce that a little bit of the soap, and so then that would change the water ratio as well. But I believe I nailed I dialed it in just right for my own preferences. I was really happy with that. It gave me a creamy feel. However, it still bonded with the skin. It had lots of slickness, lots of glide with the razor, even on the first pass. So really happy with the way I dialed that in. I feel that was just right for me. And I've said this a few times, but I do the measuring thing just so that I can repeat things, and just so that I can narrow down. I can remember what I did last time, do something different this time to get where I want to get. And then eventually, if I want to use the soap a lot, I might switch to a swirling method or something like that to be able to not have to measure stuff. Just maybe time number of swirls or number of seconds or something like that to make it easy. I mean, who knows? Because I swap soaps a lot. If I stuck with one soap, then I could just go by feel and I would get an eye for it, but I switch soaps a lot. And so it's hard to get an eye for something when it's so long that you've used a base, because you've used a bunch of other ones between that time. And so I kind of feel like a measuring spoon takes a little bit out of the experience, but at the same time I'm using the soap to an efficient purpose, because I'm not using too much of it, and then also I'm leaving the soap clean. There's no water to worry about right here. I can just cap the soap right up and put it away. Some people are bothered by that. Anyway, so there we go. Peerless from Reef Point. Very enjoyable base. They just figured it out. What a great base. Like it. Well, this is a woodsy experience. So, I've got no irritation at all from the shave. 70 uses on a blade, no irritation, with an aggressive setting on the razor. I don't have tough skin. I have average to slightly sensitive skin. We're going to go with a mainly alcohol shave, aftershave. I like the scent of this one. And so this is going to tell me how my shave went. I got one tiny little sting somewhere in here, but it's gone. I don't know where. It's over and done with. I like that scent. It's not too strong. I don't think my wife likes it, but that's fine because it'll be gone by morning. Night shaver. So we're in good shape. I'll put on a nice cologne that she likes in the morning. So there we go, the 70th shave for this Nacet. Razor, excellent. Blade, did so well. No irritation. And I believe, oh man, result tremendous. I barely even see any tips. I just got that little bit of focused section where I was just looking at it with just having the hairs in sight, being able to take care of them. Spectacular shave. Really close to some of the best I've ever had in terms of results. And then you combine that with a great comfort after and during the shave. The great base is just a tremendous shave today. So I'll look forward to combining some things maybe with the Peerless and see what I get. But so tribute to Reef Point Soaps. Thanks for providing us, I think for a few years, with some really good soap out there. Their balms are nice. I couldn't really use them because they had menthol and a reasonable amount of it, and unfortunately I had to move them on to somebody else. But they smelled great for the scents that I did like that they have, but it was just too much menthol for me. But a lot of people like menthol, so it might be right up your alley. They may still be available before they close out their stock inventory there. David James Shaving, I think it's DJ Shaving, I'm not really sure, but if you Google David James Shaving, he's got some Reef Point products. I know he does, and you might be able to find some there as well. Don't know if Maggard carries Reef Point. West Coast Shaving is another popular one. I don't know if they do either, but I know David James Shaving has some stock. Anyway, take care. I hope this was helpful to you in some way. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. Night night.